Pastor Vince Gailey from City Point Church to lead us in the benediction.
It's a privilege to be here tonight, and if we could just take a moment and just ask the Lord to just come with us tonight and be in this conversation. So, Lord Jesus, we just thank you tonight, Lord. We just ask you to guide us through these conversations, through these decisions, Lord, and I just pray your wisdom just to come upon our leaders in this city, Lord Jesus, that your understanding just falls upon us, Lord. Your word says if we search out wisdom, we search out understanding, we'll find it like a hidden treasure, Lord. So I just ask you to give us the hearts to seek your will over this city, over the leaders, Lord. I pray your protection right now over our fire and over our police department, Lord God. And I just ask you to walk with us tonight, Lord, to give us wisdom and understanding and just flood this place with your grace and your mercy, Lord. We thank you. We give you all the glory. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. Amen.
Connor, take roll call. He's shadowing me all day today. He's from the Student Council, and he was nominated to be treasurer for the day. Thank you.
Councilman Alvarez.
Here.
Councilperson Weidenbach.
Here.
Councilwoman Geishers.
Here.
Councilperson Bob Parnell.
Here.
Councilperson Vasquez.
Here.
Councilperson Ambler. Councilperson Zilli.
Here.
Thank you. At this time, I'm going to ask Councilwoman Gina Genshurst to explain why we have these young, fine gentlemen up here with us.
Today we had many students, and we did the youth council, and they were all seniors from the high school, and they all got to play different roles and see what the city does. So we had Ron, he was our mayor today, and then Connor, he was our clerk. We had other ones, and we had all of our department heads come in today and participate. And so we held a mock council meeting, and they did wonderful. We had one of them read an ordinance, and they did excellent with that. And we had even people come up and ad-lib some stuff, and it was wonderful. We got to do tours through the different departments, and all of us went through water rec. Got to see how our drainage, Tracy led through there, and we also went to the marina as a group, and it was a wonderful turnout. Some excellent students that came in today, so thank you guys.
It's nice to see our youth get
Excuse
involved.
me, point of order. Can you please all speak on the mic for those of us that are hard of hearing? I would appreciate that very much. Thank you.
Don't interrupt next time.
What?
Don't interrupt next time. Just shut up.
Let's have order in the council here. Again, thank you very much for these young gentlemen to come and have interest in our city government. It's good to see that they're starting out young and taking an interest in our community and getting involved in our local government system. So thank you very much for that. So at this time, we'll move on to the approval of minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passed. So we're changing things up a little bit here with the delay of our mayor, but we are going to move forward and start with our department reports. So we can either do a lucky straw, or who wants to go first?
Do you want me to give the clerk treasurer's report first?
Oh, sure, let's do that.
I just want to let everybody know that I'm sorry, sir. Can everybody hear me? Okay, I want everybody to know, all the council members to know that, and the department heads, that I did put the appropriations report for January and February's. It's in the Dropbox for your review. If you have any questions, give me a call. Thank you.
Thank you, I noticed that came through, I appreciate it.
Do we have a motion to approve the clerk treasurer's report? Okay. Now we can move on to our department head reports. Chief Candiano, you're up.
I'll volunteer.
Good evening, everybody. So yeah, our day with the students was pretty fun today. Honestly, there's so much stuff. You could probably do a couple days with that. I hope that you all got something out of it. It's interesting to, well, number one, it's really neat to see every time I've had the pleasure to do this a couple of years now, and to see what kind of youth we have coming up, young adults. The knowledge that they have, the interest that they have is pretty cool. I was down at the end of the table, and I know our stand-in clerk treasurer and our stand-in Mr. Mayor here were having a conversation with the mayor that might have been even a little bit over my head. So I was watching SportsCenter on the TV while they were having a very deep political conversation. So it's pretty cool. It was pretty cool to see how involved you all are. So it makes me excited to see, you know, what's to come in our younger generation. So anyway, hope you all had a good time today. Hope you learned some stuff, and just a very cool program to be a part of. So that being said, I got a couple numbers for y'all. So March of 2024, our total incidents were 2,745. So that was actually 89 a day. So like I said, sometimes you can't figure out why. So it was actually down, which isn't a bad thing. But last month, when it was, you know, kind of nastier out and things, we were way up over the like 110. So I don't know. Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason, but that's where we're sitting at. So year to date, we're at 8,469 total incidents, and that is up from last year, 1,227 up from last year. So just a little update on our hiring and staffing. We currently have 3 officers in our field training program. We just got the go-ahead to hire 2 additional officers. They've been approved through PERF, so we'll be hiring them in the next week or so. I believe this leaves us with 3 current openings, and then we've got 3 more coming in May and June with the 3 retirements. So as is always, I think I've said this for like, I don't know, maybe 30 straight council meetings. We are in a hiring process. If you know anybody who's interested, send them our way. Some good news, we have 3 officers at the academy. They're set to graduate at the beginning of May. Sounds like they're doing great at the academy. We're excited to get them back. I believe one of them's already released, so he'll come back, hit the road running, and then the other 2 are, I think, somewhere around halfway through their training, so we should have them ready to go by summer. So, you know, we could be better with staffing, but we're in a decent spot, and we've obviously got some relief coming. So, community engagement. Tilly's been making her rounds. I think she's out here today. She's been seen at some schools and stuff lately. So, like I said, usually when it gets warmer, we'll really get out there more in the community. We've got a couple of coffee with a cop things that we're planning right now. I think we've got 3 different events that'll be coming up. So we'll put some information out for that. It's kind of where we get out with the community and just, you know, mingle, get to see people in a non-police call related type of a encounter. So we'll put that out. And then we are planning our annual memorial. We did this last year. We did it as a luncheon for basically anybody in the community that wants to come rather than the more formal ceremony, and I think it was very successful. The officers liked it. Their families seemed to like it. The community members that came seemed to like it, so that's what we're going to do again. So it is open to the public. It is on I believe it's May 17th at 1 o'clock at Woodland Park. I'll talk about it again, and I'll send out some more invites, and we'll put some stuff out. But again, it's open to the public. It's lunch. We'll do, you know, there'll be a little bit of speaking, but not too much. It's more about engaging with the community, having some fellowship between all of us. So, again, if you want to write that down, but I'll send that out again to you. Last week we did some active assailant training at Fagley Middle School. You might have heard the term active shooter. It's not always a shooter. It could be any type of an assailant. So anyway, we did some training there. I wanted to thank Portage Township Schools for allowing us to use the building. You know, sadly, the world we live in, it's important for us to train for these types of things. But having the use of an actual school building just makes it so much more realistic. You kind of get in there and see what kind of challenges you're gonna find with the different, you know, nooks and crannies of buildings, how communication works. things like that. So very, very good training. I think our officers learned a lot. Like I said, unfortunately, that's the world we live in, that we have to train for that stuff, but we were glad to be able to get in there and partner with the school on that. So our canines, I've been talking to you about, we've had the misfortune of losing a couple canines for some different health reasons over the last couple months. With the generous help from the community, we have been able to raise enough money to purchase 4 new canines. So within the next month or so, we're going to get those canines assigned to officers and get the training started on that, and then hopefully they'll be out on the road soon. So huge endeavor because they are expensive. And as you all know, we had to, they had to raise their own money, but they did a great job, and the community responded just awesome that we were able to get that money to get that out. So once we get the dogs and we get them kind of rolling, maybe they'll come in and visit you. We'll put some stuff out so that everybody can kind of get to meet them, but pretty excited about that. So then the last thing I just wanted to share, so our police department's taken the stance over the years of being transparent. As long as it doesn't jeopardize, an investigation, we're obviously not going to put out stuff about that. And I think we learned in 2020 and with those events and thereafter that it's definitely more beneficial to be transparent than to try to hide things in statistics. Recently, there's been some conversation about, why is Portage always in the news? We don't decide what goes in the news, I'll tell you that for one thing. As I shared with you guys a couple weeks ago, the majority of our violent crimes have gone down in Portage. We still have crime. Our officers are still very busy, but these are byproducts of a growing community. We've got 3 major highways that run through here. There's people visiting all the time. People come in because of the highways, believing that they can get out quickly, different things. So those are the types of things that we are going to encounter. We're probably one of the biggest communities in Porter County. I can't explain why they choose to run Portage articles all the time, but again, we're transparent. We don't hide anything. If we solve a crime, we make an arrest, we put it out there. So that being said, recently we had a pursuit on the north end of town. It involved a stolen vehicle. This resulted in the arrest of 2 individuals, a juvenile and 1 adult, who were suspects in multiple carjackings and burglaries throughout the Chicagoland area. So, you read these headlines and you say, here's crime in Portage. For me, the headline should read, Portage Police Help Solve Area Crime Spree, because that's what we did. If you focus on the crimes, you can become, disheartened, but I think what we should really focus on is the fact that we're catching the perpetrators. They're getting stopped from committing additional crimes. There also were multiple firearms in this car. Who knows what they were out doing at the time, obviously driving in a stolen car. So I believe Chicago PD snatched them up pretty quickly after that because they wanted them for these multiple crimes. So number one, kudos to our guys for a heck of a job well done for catching them. And again, like I said, it just got brought to my attention recently that Portage is in the paper a lot, and I just felt it was worth commenting that, yeah, we're in the paper, but we're in the paper for catching the crimes and solving the crimes. So I'd much rather read about that than crime goes unsolved. So that's my spiel. Anybody got anything for me?
Only briefly, Chief, to answer your question, or at least my interpretation of it, I once asked the same question, why is Portage always in the newspaper? And I was told that the newspaper no longer has a full-time staff member that reports Lake County crimes and court, happenings. Therefore, they're dependent on their Porter County person, and Portage being, one of the biggest cities with the most volume, they write about Portage all the time. Is it fair to Portage residents? No, it makes us look bad, but we appreciate everything you do, and like you said, you just focus on the positive and clickbait. It is also clickbait, fake news they call it. Thank you.
Yeah, and like I said, I think we've taken the stance of being transparent. I think people want to know what your police department's doing and what they're involved in. There's all that information is free through the Freedom of Information Act. So instead of having to have somebody ask for everything or think we're trying to hide things, we run the arrest reports and we provide them and they print what they want to print. But again, I think it shows that our people are out there doing their jobs, that they're finding crime and they're stopping it. So,
To your point, Chief, I'm looking at the Times website, and 3 of the 7 stories are Portage. Yeah. 3 of the 7 on the crime page
Yep,
reportage, so.
and, one's, I think, a DUI. There's DUIs all over the county. I mean, unfortunately, we know that driving while intoxicated is a problem. It's not special to Portage, but, and I'm not waging war on any newspapers or anything. I just think it's important for the public to understand that, we are transparent. We put out our stuff. We tell them what we're doing. I share the stats with y'all so that you understand what we do on a daily basis. And I would hope that people feel safe in the community knowing that when there is crime, we're on top of it, so.
I mean, give them credit, the 3 headlines all say Portage Police say, so they're getting it from us directly, but.
There is that.
Thank you, Chief.
All right, thank you.
All right, so we have our next department report. Chief Crail?
I always hate following Chief Candiano. It seems to follow a trend with Chief Wilkening. Now I'm following Chief Candiano. I can't quite keep up. I will admit today was definitely an experience for me, being my first time. It was awesome. I agree. I do have young men in my house. It is interesting from my perspective to be around young men all the time. Today I had the privilege of toting around 2 young ladies, and it was a definitely different perspective, so I appreciated that very much. Interesting, to say the least. For us this month, call volume was also down. We had 439 total calls, 319 of which were EMS, 21 car accidents, and 1 structure fire. 9 mutual aid ambulances came into the city this month. It's important to know that there was a day and a half. So last month, if you remember, we loaned Hobart an ambulance because they were having some issues. This month, we had 2 ambulances go down, and none of our area mutual aid companies had ambulances to give. So we had to run with 2 ambulances, which why there was an influx of mutual aid ambulances coming into town. On the economic side of things, every mutual aid ambulance that comes into the city is less money that's also coming into the city. So that's just important to take note of. The remainder of the calls were service calls, good service calls. Personnel, we did have a retirement on March 15th after 25 years of service with the City of Portage. Vic Mercaldo retired from the City of Portage Fire Department. We did have a termination this last month of an employee. That's always a difficult process to navigate, but we did have a termination. His replacement has already been contacted and is in the process of being hired and going down for his physical. All of that being said and done, we do have 2 personnel that will be starting next Monday, and the following Monday we'll be starting the fire academy that starts for 11 weeks. We will be full staff, but I think what's a trend in public service right now is that we will always be hiring. Just like the police department, we are accepting applications all the time, and so it's a continual process, and we will continue to do our due diligence. Equipment and vehicles, we do have an ambulance down, like I had just said. There is an engine component that is a pretty major component that needs to be replaced, and so as soon as that component comes in and gets replaced, then we will be back full staff. Or we are full staff, but we don't have a spare right now, so we're running out of our spare. It's important to note that that is our oldest frontline ambulance at 10 years old. We do have 2 newer ambulances, and we do have 2 on order, but the 2 on order will not be delivered to the City of Portage until 2026 and 2027. So we are, and this is not unusual to what we're going through right now, and this is not unique to the City of Portage. This is everywhere. On a positive note, Marine One, our dive boat, is in the water and ready for response as of March 25th. And also, we were this month able to replace an administrative vehicle that had some major issues that it couldn't steer and it couldn't go fast. So, nothing to report on our Assist a Firefighter grant. Some of our training, all of our firefighters this month were fit tested for their SCBA masks. It's OSHA compliance to make sure that they have good fit with their masks, that they are fit in the appropriate size, and that they are able to pass the test so there's no particulate that comes into their masks. Us being able to perform this kind of compliancy in-house saves the city of Portage an enormous amount of money. So fortunately, we are able to do all of that in-house. They trained on forcible entry, making entry into locked or barricaded residences. We don't do it for the same purpose that the police do it. We do it because the house is on fire and we need to get in. Or Mr. or Mrs. Joe Public or Joan Public, I don't know what her name would be, has fallen. We need to get and take care of them. The crews also worked on their BLS EMS skills this month. In the EMS industry, it's often preached that we use basic life support before advanced life support. So I mentioned the ambulance going down. I'd like to recognize Chuck Litzkow. His dedication to the Portage Fire Department fleet of apparatus is second to none. Without him, we have, our fleet is starting to get replenished, but we do have still some aging fleet. While this ambulance is down, I can promise you, as soon as this component comes in, he will have this ambulance back up and running in no time. His dedication is second to none, and I'd just like to, show him a little bit of homage tonight. He's definitely an amazing person for us to have. Unfortunately, in a year and a half, we're going to be losing him to retirement, so we are going to have to work on that. I do have something else, but it'll be coming up soon, I imagine. So are there any questions for me?
Can you explain about the boat being back in the water, but also regarding the Coast Guard and how it's affecting?
Yeah, so so last month I reported that the Coast Guard is downsizing. We were able to, the Fire Department administration was able to have a meeting with the Coast Guard, and then we had another meeting with the city administration and the Coast Guard. Last year, confirmed drownings alone, they had 67 confirmed drownings alone with the United States Coast Guard Michigan City Station. They are going from running a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week, 365-day-a-year operation to a 40-hour-a-week manned station. So it is going to be greatly reduced. It has nothing to do with money. The federal government has plenty of money to fund it. It all has to do with staffing. They are running into the same problems that public safety is running into. They just don't have people signing up to join the Coast Guard. And so it's not a permanent issue. They're hoping that it's temporary, but they don't know how long that will be. So yeah, being said, the city of Portage is going to be picking up some of the slack. The cutoff line will be the Burns Waterway. So Burns Waterway west, we will be getting Chicago Coast Guard. Burns Waterway east, we will be getting Coast Guard out of St. Joe, Michigan. So we're looking at anywhere from a 45-minute response from the Coast Guard to an hour-and-a-half response from the Coast Guard. And those are completely flat waters with no wind or wave conditions. So they have told us that if it comes down to it and the city is falling apart, we can tell them that we have to clear, and the Coast Guard has no choice but to tell us okay. But they are looking forward to the partnership with us and us being able to help them. It was nice to them. In our meeting with them, they said that they trust us enough, we have worked with them enough that if we show up on scene and we perform a search pattern for a downed victim and we don't find anything, in their eyes, they have searched that area. So they trust our abilities that much, and so that's positive to hear from a federal agency that they trust our ability. So we will continue to work and continue to help the Coast Guard in any way that we can.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I apologize. I was misinformed, and I was told that we are a second-class city now, so I now have to report like a department head. One day late for April Fools. If it's okay to come up, I'm not sure what the procedure is, but thank you guys for your patience, and I appreciate it.
Your check will be a little short next week.
If it's okay with you guys, we can push the rest to the end, you know where that is, because that'll be our public safety report. So we can go ahead. If Liz, were you able to do your? Okay, perfect. So yeah, we'll go ahead. Wait a second. I'm looking at the wrong agenda. I'm looking at the agenda from the mock meeting today. It's got chicken ordinance on here, and I'm like, wait, I'm pretty sure that was settled. Sure, somebody, could we? Thank you. That was, honestly, that was exactly the kind of humor that was needed for this moment, so thank you. Okay, so we've got the new business, police department assets and inventory request. Mike, is that you coming back up, or is that Assistant Chief? Are they here? Oh, they're here. Aware, the rest are coming later.
Did I get summoned again?
That is correct. So,
Sorry about that. We had I was talking to my lieutenant. We had a call he had to brief me on. So fill me in on where we're at. I'm very sorry.
oh, no problem. We are at the, no, I saw Tilly run around there. That was cool. Yeah, so we're on the police department assets and inventory request.
Okay, so basically what we're asking for, so unfortunately, occasionally a police car gets wrecked. I was running some real quick numbers. We drive like 1.3 million miles a year, something crazy like that. And unfortunately, sometimes cars get wrecked. So what's happening right now is when a vehicle gets wrecked and there's an insurance payout, it's going, I'm assuming, back to the general fund, because we never see that money again. So the initial money is spent on a car, it gets wrecked, say it gets totaled, we're down a car, the money goes back into the general fund, and then we're just, struggling trying to find the money. So after having some different talks with the mayor at the beginning of the year and some of the council members, what we're asking for is that when this money comes back to the city, that could it possibly be put into a non-reverting fund, wrecked cars, repaired cars, something like that, so that it can sit in there, and then, in a perfect world, we don't wreck any cars, but where that money then can collect, and then if there's a point where then we can purchase a new car, then we would be able to use that money. I said, so basically the money is being allocated towards cars, and then that's that same money coming back in a roundabout way, but then it's no longer being used for cars, it's being used for another purpose. So I have some numbers. So in the last 2 years, and I think this might actually, it may have gone up since then, but at the time that I ran this, back in October, we had 6 vehicles that we lost. None of them our fault. All the other driver claimed responsibility, and $67,802 came back to the city. So it's a Band-Aid, but that could have bought us a car. Probably went back to the general fund and, was spent somewhere else. So what we're asking is that those payments could come back to a fund for us to be able to access 4 cars at some point. So I don't know, I'll defer to legal on that, on whether or not that's an ordinance or how that would work.
I was going to say, if you don't mind me saying something, Ed, real quick. It's not easy to do this budget-wise because you can't really do a city budget with the expectation that there's going to be any wrecks. To the chief's point, you don't want there to be any wrecks. One thing that has been recommended, I know other cities do, is they'll just kind of keep track of when there's payouts and when the city, I don't mean to say makes money, because we're not really making money, we're losing a cop car, and the payout is not enough to restore that whole car. But if you keep track of it enough, since it's money that wasn't budgeted, you could always know, like when you hit a threshold that you could buy a car, go to the council, ask for that to be reappropriated. But to be fair, that is a lot to keep track of, which is where if there's a way we could do it in a fund, I think that that would make a lot more sense and easier to keep track of.
The concept that the chief is talking about is consistent with state law and should be followed by the Common Council in terms of managing this particular issue. So those insurance funds should be returned and used for the purpose of replacing the vehicle.
Do we know how much we have right now?
So it's hard to track because in previous years, odds are the money that went to the general fund was probably spent, depending on what thing, if you take the idea of like you think of it as dropping it in a bucket in let's say 22 or 23, certainly like it went into the general fund and it got spent somewhere in the city. So I asked our insurance vendor about recent payouts that happened or accidents that happened from October of 23 to now to try to get an idea of what might be available. The unfortunate news I was given was that those particular crashes, Chief, if you can correct me, I think there were 3 between October and now, maybe,
Sounds about right.
all in all, that came to a net loss for the city. We ended up, even though we got money, what we ended up paying out, because those were leases, was more than what we got. So unfortunately, we couldn't reappropriate that money because we didn't gain any from the general fund's point of view. So we could try to go back and see what's been done in the past, but I think Liz would agree on me. It'd be hard to state that that money is somehow still there. It was probably spent in the course of spending in 23 and 22.
Okay, I'd like to make a comment about that. I was told that when the cars were wrecked, was the 3 vehicles that were wrecked or the 6, weren't they replaced?
No, so the ones that I ran were 3 from 21, 2 from 22, and then 1 from 23, and those would have all been non-leased vehicles. So no, they weren't replaced. So the big problem is, for example, so I'll just pick one out here. So in July of 2023, we had a 2017 Explorer that got wrecked. So the payout we got was $12,219. So the problem is that a new vehicle is hovering around $40,000. So that $12,000, we can't get that fixed. So if you think about it like this, we've got a bunch of older vehicles that are running around. They usually last about 5 years. So when we lose, it's almost more beneficial for us to lose a brand-new vehicle because then we're getting closer to a payout. So we're getting $12,000 for that car, but we can't replace it. We can't go find a 2017 Explorer to replace a 2017 Explorer, if that makes sense. If it's your personal car and you get X number of dollars from a payout, then you can go find something similar and maybe it's a wash. For us, it's not. We're down that vehicle. And again, it's a Band-Aid, but when you have 6 of them that get wrecked and you could get at least 1 car back. So no, they haven't been replaced. Now we may order new cars in the next year, but then that just sets us back. So say the normal wear and tear on a car is every 5 years and we'll throw out a number, we've been throwing around 10 cars a year. When you wreck one and we only get a small payment, we actually need 11. But we don't, with the way the budget and stuff works, we usually can't get that. So we actually you fall behind every time a car gets wrecked. So at that point, then you start running on some real thin margins, which is what we ran into several years ago when we ended up leasing those cars. We had gotten ourselves in a jam because we hadn't kept up with it, and then we were at the point where we needed a whole bunch of cars. So the problem is, like I said, once it catches up, then you've got a real problem. And then if you buy a ton of cars all at one time, then your problem hits 5 years later because then they're all done. So that's why it's best, and I know we've been working with the council and with the mayor trying to get a plan for the future, but you have to stay on that plan of getting X number each year so that then you're never in a jam. But yes, wrecked cars, that causes a problem because, again, I can't replace a 2017 or a 2016, whatever, because there's no used car market for police cars, unfortunately. So I don't know if that answered the question or not. But so in theory, yeah, they got replaced, but it took the place of a car that probably was going to replace a car with 125,000 miles. So a car just stays in service longer when we replace a wrecked car.
One of the things, and I'm not sure exactly how far back this goes, but for a number of years, certainly more than like the past 8, going on like a decade, I think, Portage has not budgeted for police cars in a given city budget. So one of the challenges the police department faces, you can elaborate or correct me if I'm off on something, Chief, is we're always finding money each year. The city is always trying to find somewhere to get the cars from and, fit that in. My goal is to get that adjusted so that in 2025, we have money budgeted for cars and we're able to build that base. Now, in the past, you go further than that, there have been certain funds or, ways that we've always, worked on when it comes to being able to essentially budget because we know where it's coming from. But I do think that this idea of being able to state that when we get an insurance payout related to a police car, that money should be at least put into a fund so it might work towards buying at least one car.
Chief, but that doesn't include what the additional cost is to also equip the vehicle. That's just the cost of the vehicle, correct?
So it's possible that we could, depending on the damage to the car, we might be able to save some of that stuff. But yeah, it all depends on what all's damaged. If it's again, a 2017 Explorer, the equipment may not match up with a new car. So yeah, it would so whereas a new car might be I don't know what there are, 37,000, I'm just throwing out a number, and then it's another $7,000 to upfit, so we might have to wait till we got to that 50,000 or whatever till we could buy a car, or if we could mix and match parts, then maybe it would be a little less. So I guess yes and no, it just depends, on what car is wrecked and how that equipment would fit up, because obviously, light bars and things don't fit they're fit to certain cars and different things like that. But theoretically, we could save some of it, but if it's the whole front end smashed, then probably not. So then it would take a little bit more to get another car. I guess the biggest thing, again, I keep saying it's a Band-Aid. It's in the grand scheme of things, it's, we're talking maybe a car or two over a couple of years, but when you get in bad shape and you're putting somebody in a car with 125, 130,000 miles, even one car is a big deal for us. So,
Attorney Graham, is this as simple as putting an ordinance together to say that we want to create that fund? Would that be consistent with the state law as far as setting up something like this?
Yes, that would be appropriate. Now, and the qualifier here is the law requires that those same insurance proceeds be expended within 12 months of receipt of the insurance.
Just so if
so we need to wreck more cars, is that what you're saying? If we
They have a
wreck one, we got to
strategy.
wreck two, is that what we're saying?
Well,
I'm kidding.
No.
I think the question is, would it be something that the ordinance committee would be willing to take up, working with Attorney Graham to get that together? And maybe ideally, we could have something by our next meeting,
Yeah.
put together?
We can put that on the agenda for the next meeting, yeah.
All right, well, thank you. Any more, Chief? I'm sure there's plenty to say, but thank you.
No, I appreciate you hearing us out. We'd also, and maybe I can send you some more information, but, there was also the talk of, repairs. If a car's not totaled and there's money, could it go into a repair account? And then, if it's, one door needs replaced or something like that, maybe that would be a way to spend the funds within that 12 months. So I'll send you guys a little bit more information on kind of the numbers and things, but I think we just wanted to kind of get that conversation going so that you kind of understood where we were coming from, so.
All right, well, thank you so
All
much.
good? All right, thank you.
We've got the amended salary ordinance. Do we have a copy of that? And I think we still procedurally need to have somebody read it first, and then we can go into commentary on it. Is that correct? Yes. All right. If we've got, who's ready? Bob, would you might possibly be able to read that ordinance for us? The salary ordinance amendment. Do we have a paper copy? I thought very, very briefly about having Colin or Ferdinand read it, but given it's right there. But once you guys were passing it so fast, I'm like, we got to get it to Bob. I don't want to let him down.
I've seen it yesterday, but I didn't see it today.
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Salary ordinance, budget year 2024, Ordinance number 24-10V4. An ordinance establishing the amount of salaries and compensation to be paid to all appointed employees and officers of the City of Portage. Porter City of Portage, Indiana, Porter County, Indiana for the year 2024. Be it hereby ordained by the Common Council of the City of Portage, Indiana as follows. Salary schedule as presented by Austin Bonta, Mayor, to the Common Council of the City of Portage, Porter County, Indiana. Section 1, that from the first pay date in January of 2024 through the last pay date in December of 2024, the pay schedule for the employees and officers of the City of Portage, Porter County, Indiana, be as fixed as follows. And that's all I have. I don't have the rest of it.
So behind that is the salary ordinance, I believe.
Yes.
You don't have to read all of them, but I forget the term as the,
Thank you. First reading. Councilperson Ambler read ordinance that,
oh. Other side, that's got. Does he need to read the whole through? There's a phrase to say, he can say. Sure, but is there like I won't say a magic phrase, but you know, those things you gotta say at the
He
end of
should just
it?
read the ones that are being changed.
So it's just the fire chief?
You could reference that the record should reflect the attached exhibit to the ordinance, and that would be sufficient.
the Building Department effective 1/7/2024. Building Commissioner, Lead Code Enforcement Officer, Clerk 1, 2, and 3. You want me to read all of the figures? And then also the Fire Department Chief and Deputy Chief?
You don't have to read them all, you just have to say that part at the end?
Let the record reflect the attachment as it is shown.
Thank you.
Easier said than done.
Thank you so much, Bob. No, it gets tough when you have all the added stuff, and you want to make sure that it's done right. When we had the Youth Government Day, meeting, and I was explaining it to Ron, there's a lot of procedure you got to make sure is done right, just how you close every meeting with me signing all this stuff, because if that doesn't happen, we got another issue. So initially, this involved working on one issue that it turned out could be handled another way, and we discovered that our fire chief is not there in the payroll ordinance. And so we're not really giving him a raise from like 0 to what's being put in there, but what it is doing is it's reflecting that his pay needs to be in the salary ordinance. We think that might have just been a typo or something that was off when it was getting, put together. Was there anything else that should be said about that?
No, the other one was the.
Oh, with the building, is that right?
The building, one of the building, building out. We took,
You mean the city planner position?
yeah, city planner position.
Yeah, so the city planner position is being eliminated, at least for now.
And we created the other position for this, a planning position? in
That
the
was
planning
already
department?
there with the planning clerk?
I think we changed the salary, didn't we?
No, it's what's listed, it's just that it has a spectrum. So, yeah, the two things there is
Okay.
the fire chief and then the planning clerk situation. So, what's that, Mr. Chair? Oh, hers? Oh, with the RDC. Gotcha. Oh, I thought the RDC budget did that. Did that get put into here?
I thought that had to be on the agenda.
Is it listed as the programming director?
Project manager.
Manager?
Yeah.
Is that there on your list, Bob, that you looked at?
Change, the title change.
Oh, it's a title change. Oh, okay, got it. I was thinking just money. So the name change that gets put, got it.
The RDC is that.
Gotcha.
That's the new one.
Title change would be a Board of Works. That's why I was a little, I would think so, because we did that recently with the fire department. If you're talking,
Okay.
we can definitely adjust it, but I think we're good to go, because the position existed previously. I'll do a recap real quick after we got this through. So what we've got on here that we're voting on, and Tom, we'll check if there's something else that needs to be changed. We'll get that, shaped up. But we have the situation with the fire chief, which is he hasn't been making zero. Don't worry, you're doing okay, right, Chris? Okay, good. We've got a position that's never been filled in the planning department of city planner, and there's not an intent to fill it going forward. So in order to do some budgetary changes next month, it was smoother to remove that from the salary ordinance. Not that I suspect Tom would just go ahead and hire somebody, for the job there, but it's easier to take it out of the salary ordinance. And then we have the situation with the clerk spot being defined. So that's all good and what have you. If there's any questions, I'm happy to answer. Otherwise, do we have a motion?
Just a brief question, Mr. Mayor. Is there a copy of the salary ordinance and the proposed amendments for the folks at home or members of the public who would like to see for themselves?
Is the salary ordinance currently listed on the city website? I can help if it isn't. We can make sure it gets on there. I just don't know offhand.
No, it's not, because I don't have access to the city website.
Got it. Well, we'll get that fixed up, and we'll literally get that taken care of, if not by tonight, by tomorrow in the morning, and we'll get that put on there.
Thank you, sir. No further questions.
Cool.
If the council is prepared to take action, you'll need to suspend the rules.
There was a part on here, Mr. Mayor, the park department, that we didn't mention that.
That part is the part that we were initially working on, and then we found out otherwise that it doesn't have to be changed because the park department contract doesn't specify the number of positions that can be created.
I see. Okay.
So it's okay for it to be there, so it can certainly be read, but those positions already exist in the sense of the union contract allows for them to be hired already. Originally, we didn't realize that. I'll chalk that up to being a new mayor, and most of the contracts have a number next to the positions. I didn't notice that parks didn't, so that was where that came about. But you can certainly list them.
And the fire chief's salary was not printed on here? Is that what the initial problem was?
Yeah, so the problem is that the salary ordinance that we had previously, there just was no position of fire chief.
I see.
And we think that that was just a typo when the last salary ordinance was
Well, it was
being-
my understanding that the fire chief was going to be donating his salary to the police car fund.
I believe he is. It's just that we have to have it on the salary ordinance for him to do that.
I'll second that motion.
You told me earlier you were donating yours to me.
Okay. All right, well, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules then on the salary ordinance.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Who's listed as the second, Liz? Who's on second? No, who's the second? I heard Ferdinand Ferd. Really important we get the seconds. It can really mess things up when you, yep. We have a motion. Liz, when you're ready, could you call the roll? This is for the suspension of the rules.
Councilperson Alvarez.
Yes?
Councilperson Weinbach.
Yes.
Councilperson Geist-Hurst.
Yes.
Councilperson Parnell.
Yes.
Councilperson Vasquez.
Yes.
Councilperson Ambler, which isn't here. Councilperson Zilli.
Yes.
All right, so that passed. We now have does anybody want to make a motion to amend the salary or
I'll make a motion to adopt the salary ordinance as amended.
A second.
we have a motion, we have a second. Liz, could you call roll?
Councilperson Alvarez.
Yes.
Councilperson Weinbach.
Yes.
Councilperson Geist-Hurst.
Yes.
Councilperson Parnell.
Yes.
Councilperson Vasquez.
Yes.
Councilperson Ambler. Councilperson Zilli.
Yes.
And that passed. Thank you. Thank you guys for working through that. There was, like I say, it started with working on one issue, and then we discovered another issue, because it was while we were working on the one is where we first discovered the issue with the fire chief. So congratulations, Chief Grail. We have, sorry. We have the ordinance 24-09 pretreatment program. Let's see, does somebody have that in front of them? And would you be willing to read? Let's see, Melissa, would you be willing to read it? Yeah, you go ahead, Colin.
Ordinance number 24-09, non-delegated pretreatment program, and ordinance superseding the City of Portage Code, Chapter 82, Article 2, Division 5, non-delegated pretreatment program, be it ordained by the Sanitary Board and the City Council of the City of Portage, Indiana, as follows. Let the record reflect this has been read in full. Motion to suspend.
Second.
We have a motion to suspend and a second. Liz, when you're ready, could you call roll?
Councilperson Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilperson Weidenbach?
Yes.
Councilperson Geishurst?
Yes.
Councilperson Parnell?
Yes.
Councilperson Vasquez?
Yes.
Councilperson Ambler? Councilperson Zilli?
Yes. Motion to adopt.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion?
And briefly, will a copy of this ordinance be available online for folks at home, members of the public who would like to review?
We'll get that taken care of. I'm seeing Tracy nodding her head.
Thank you.
Hearing no other discussion, Liz, if you're ready, could you please call roll?
Councilperson Alvarez?
Yes.
Councilperson Weidenbach?
Yes.
Councilperson Geishurst?
Yes.
Councilperson Parnell?
Yes.
Councilperson Vasquez?
Yes.
Councilperson Ambler? Councilperson Zilli?
Yes.
All right, thank you guys so much. Going back to the reports from city officials, unless there was something that I missed in there with the agenda. I'm a little nervous after seeing that one that had the chicken ordinance in it. Can we have our park department come up? So I guess just to start, I want to state that I'll be sharing later in the course of the week some before and after photos of a marvelous job that's been done at the park maintenance facility. Gina, you came and saw the site, I believe. It's one of those spots where it was just in a really rough spot, and the transformation that's gone on there over the last 3 months is something I've been very excited to see. When I first walked around there, I was extremely concerned from a safety standpoint and from a cleanliness standpoint, and the work that you guys have been doing is something to be proud of. And I just want to thank the entire park maintenance staff, you guys, everybody who got involved and got that place cleaned up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have some work to do yet, but we are making progress. We have a very dedicated staff. We're very fortunate. We have good workers, dedicated workers.
Something else I'm excited about is that within the course of this week, where there's going to be an addition to the park staff, now that we've had some changes made to general service that we're moving on, and then the Port Authority will know for sure after their meeting this week when it comes to adding to the park maintenance crew. So I'm very excited about that and what it means for the city, and especially the moving of general services from the street department to the parks. For those who don't know, when a light bulb is out or when a generator is broken or there's some big maintenance project in a city building, what we do right now is we call the street department and they send somebody over to take care of it through what's called general services. But we're in the process of moving that system to the park department and the park maintenance taking on a role within the city maintenance. And it's taken a lot of collaboration with our different department heads, with the union. 150 has been incredible with working on this, and I'm really excited about what it means to give our parks the extra help, but also to provide a very efficient resource for our marina, which the park maintenance staff will be starting to take over, and then the city itself when it comes to general services.
We're looking forward to the opportunity, and we think it's going to be a great improvement in the way, just for fluidity of how things should be running. And we're very happy to be able to supply the services.
I apologize, I talked a lot. Did you guys? You're doing, so thank you.
I was going to let John speak because I'm.
Well, if it ever quits raining, we might be able to get the fields in shape for soccer and softball and baseball. I did find out today we have 444 kids signed up for soccer, which is very good. We're booking our rooms. We're pretty well booked up on weekends through July now with weddings, graduation parties, birthday parties. So we're very successful in that respect.
Just for those of you who don't know, there was a period where we were moving away from booking the rooms. So we basically went from 0 to full capacity in a very short time.
Yes, very busy.
I think we also might be a month off, but the story is still fresh enough in my mind. I was very impressed by the detective work that went involved in figuring out where the dirt was coming from at Imagination Glen Park. Thank you guys for really figuring that one out, because that was perplexing people, and it turned out to have a very easy
Yeah.
answer.
Little
but-
communication from the BMX people would have saved us a lot of time.
Any other questions from the council? Well, thank you guys so much.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Tracy, did you want to come up with something, or did you already get the chance to talk earlier? We're good? All right. Anybody else that wanted to report? I don't want to leave anybody out, but I know that we're kind of...
I don't really have anything to say.
Oh, I think that we're good. Do we have reports from the, I already talked to Randy, he's gonna, yeah. Do we have reports from the standing committees?
Yes,
None-
Mr. Mayor, today the ordinance committee met at our usual 5:30 PM time on the first Tuesday of every month. Today we discussed the travel ordinance, which returned back to the ordinance committee, which has been tabled pending the crafting of a credit card policy, so that those people who travel on the city's dime have a accountable policy, a procedure for tabulating said expenses. We also discussed the scavenger ordinance, which will be handled in the future by the clerk treasurer's office. We also discussed the vegetation ordinance and trying to bring non-compliance issues into compliance as quickly as possible, as said by Mr. Soroki. Those ordinances will be brought before the council at some point, and then also the sewer, or, forgot the proper term for it, but we called it the sewer ordinance, which was just approved by the council just minutes ago. That concludes, excuse me, that concludes the report of the ordinance committee, and of course, as always, we encourage members of the public to join us on the first Tuesday of every month at 5:30. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilman Alvarez. And I just want to clarify, when I went on my trip to DC, none of that was paid by the city. So you guys had nothing to worry about with that being delayed. We got that taken care of separately. The Great Lakes Cities Initiative, if you consider that a special interest, the Great Lakes, I hope they're near and dear to all of us, the councilman. Unless there's any other committee reports, but hearing none, petitions, remonstrances, and public input, if you'd like to come up and speak, you are welcome to. Please try to keep it within 2 minutes. I won't be too rough, but we are trying to keep it a little contained. Thank you. Oh, man. I mean, hey, Tony.
My name's Antonio Gutierrez, lifelong Portage resident. Last couple years, I started a personal process of coming into the Catholic Church, and this past Holy Week was my second anniversary. And full disclosure, my sponsor and right-hand person going through the process is Mayor Austin Bonta. So I want to thank you for being by my side this last couple years going through the process. Without explaining a part, my patron saint is St. Thomas More. He's the patron saint of public servants, lawyers, Thaddeus Ferdinand, and difficult marriages and relationships, just to name a couple. But I wanted to do something for all the council and everything, and I got you guys each a necklace of St. Thomas More, and I asked him to intercede on your behalf and pray for you, because I know these next 4 years, as Portage grows, you guys are going to come across some very difficult situations and stuff, and I just asked him to pray that you guys make the right decision on behalf of the citizens of Portage. So I'd just like to present you each with a little emblem to keep you guys.
Thank you so much, Tony. Appreciate that. Tony, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Are there other statements or things? Oh, yes, sir. Oh, and I'm sorry. I'm going to have you go first, and then I'll call upon you. Is that okay, William? Thank you.
I'll be very brief. I'm from United Way, and I'm just giving everybody, the citizens of Porter County, an invite to come to the first-time homeowners vendor fair that's happening on Saturday, April 27th, the last Saturday of this month. It's going to be at the Maryville Library. It's going to be from 10 to 2. We're going to have all types of banks there and anybody else that's related to housing. So if you're not ready to buy a house, you can at least come there and get the education and get yourself prepared to buy a home. And there will be some first-time home buyer programs available for you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the invitation, and thank you for coming tonight. And, oh, yes, please come up.
It'll take me a little time to get there.
No worries. Take your time. There's no rush.
I'm William Cresswell, citizen of Portage. Unfortunately, I'm 2 months late with this comment. Depending on your perspective, this is either of no consequence or great urgency. 2 months ago, I approached Paul C. unpronounceable last name.
Could it be Paul Soselski?
Yeah, what she said.
He's right over there.
Hey, Paul. Concerning a portable comfort station for Woodland Dog Park. During the off-season, our cinder block permanent comfort stations are inaccessible. And there's quite a bit of traffic at the dog park, whether you realize it or not, even during the cold months. And I approached Paul, and I didn't go back immediately because things take time. But I was back there maybe 2 or 3 days later, and lo and behold, bingo, there's a porta potty there, disabled, available. I mean, bing like that. What a great job. I want to thank him on behalf of all the dog owners that use the park. That was incredible response time. A lot of people complain about the city, but by golly, great job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Come on up.
Mayor and the Common Council, Michael Cooper. I attended the Porter County Board of Elections meeting last Thursday night. And under the delinquent campaign finance reports agenda, I was shocked to hear about 2 appointed commissioners here in Portage that had unpaid fines to the County Elections Board. One of those appointed board members is even on a board that is compensated by taxpayers to the city, taxpayers of the city for their services. Yet they have failed to meet the legal obligations under Indiana code. The 2 people that were talked about in the meeting, Joetta Collins, who was approved of she's turned in her reports, but hasn't paid her fines yet. She has, and she's on the Board of Works, the Board of Public Works and Safety. She has an unpaid fine. Also discussed was Anthony Wire, received numerous certified requests. He has delinquent on campaign finance reports, and that action, well, inaction, should not be acceptable for anyone serving our city as a board appointee. It is, in my opinion, disrespectful to those of both our political parties serving on our county board of elections to not respond to letters asking for their appearance. I believe, Mayor, that compliance with the laws of our state are stipulated in the oath that you administered to them. Therefore, I'm requesting, Mr. Mayor and Common Council, to see the seriousness of this complaint tonight and suspend their appointments to our city boards and any compensation of taxpayer money until the respective fines are paid and all delinquent campaign finance reports are submitted to the Porter County Board of Elections Division in compliance with the laws of Indiana.
Do you mind if I ask you something real quick?
Sure.
Is this the first time that you've come up here to speak while I've been mayor?
Probably.
That's pretty cool. I knew it was coming, so it's just to say, like, it's great to see you. It's good to see you
Would you
again,
like
my
me to
friend.
come up more?
I mean, you can. I mean, it's all about keeping me held accountable, right? don't want to comment on legal issues I wasn't aware of, so I appreciate you bringing a concern to an attention. I'm going to speak to our legal and kind of find out situations with the county election board. I don't mean to say they can be complicated, but it's not, how do I put it? It's just kind of a unique process, and so I kind of want to make sure that I check everything, but I will take your comments into very serious consideration, and I'll follow up with you. I know how to find you.
Yes.
I mean that in a very positive way.
Yeah, I'm just
Well,
concerned that people are serving on boards who
Sure.
are getting paid by our taxpayer money, who
Yeah.
are not responding to
No, I
valid
think,
requests from elected officials.
sure.
on the
I want to
county
make
level.
sure I get the whole story. I'm going to check with the attorney, because also board appointments vary in terms of what you can do, and once I get all the facts, I'll follow up with you, okay? But thank you for bringing it up in such a respectful way. Any other public comments? I know we've got one other thing to do. Not here and such. So I don't know if you remember, Chief Crail, that last Board of Works meeting where I kept saying, stay right there, Chief, stay right there. Apparently, it wasn't just firefighter day, it's firefighter like week, month, and anyway, I know we've got an agenda item that got skipped in my absence. I appreciate you guys waiting for me. Would you like to come up and do the introductory remarks? Maybe that's the way to say it.
Wait for his family to come inside. So tonight, I would like to recognize Rory Ryder. Approximately 10 years ago, Rory came to the United States from South Africa. He's been working in the United States for the last 10 years. Over the course of the past year, he has been working on his naturalization process. January 31st, he took and passed his written naturalization test, and I'm happy to announce that on March 15th at the Hammond Federal Plaza, he was sworn in as a United States citizen. I think as a city of Portage, we should feel very honored that of all places in the United States for someone to come and settle and work, he chose the city of Portage. So, Rory, welcome to being a United States citizen and welcome aboard. There are ample cupcakes over on the table for everybody after the meeting is adjourned. There's plenty of them, so make sure that you take 2. Thank you.
Thank you. And congratulations. Would you like to come up and say anything? Not to put you on the spot, but we're all good. Maybe I should have asked you first.
This was a complete surprise. I didn't realize this was happening this evening, so. I would like to say thank you. It's been a real honor to serve in the Portage Fire Department. It's been really special to me, and I just want to say you guys are really inspirational to me. The level of excellence you guys serve with has really touched my heart. It's everything I wanted the fire service to be and more. You know, it's what I was hoping it would be, and it's been that and more. So thank you so much, guys. You mean a lot to me. So, and thank you, you
Thank
guys.
you so
as well.
much for your service to our city. Thank you. I know how much everybody wants to eat some of these cupcakes, so, and they look great. But are there any other comments that need to come before the board? Let me just say thank you so much to Connor for being here. Thank you for Ron for being here. You guys were excellent today. I think that, I mean, it was my only youth government day so far, but it's my favorite so far, and I got a feel that it could stay that way. Did you guys already get a chance to speak at this meeting, or and would you like the opportunity to? Well, all I can say is you guys are both just excellent young men, and everybody that came was just fantastic today. It was a great experience. Oh, are you going to speak? Yes. Go for it, man.
I'd like to thank Elizabeth Modesto for dealing with me all day and allowing me to shadow her and act as clerk treasurer for the day. and thank all the heads of the boards and the mayor and the city council for bringing us out on the trip and getting us out of school for a day. I love skipping school.
And are you sure you don't want to say anything, or? All right, go ahead, Ed.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for everybody that gave me the chance to be here. But I'm a senior at Portage High School, and I currently just introduced a fundraiser for my school to give used or old clothes back to the community. It's just a student thing right now, but it doesn't just have to be a student thing. It can be a community thing. And if you guys were interested in being included in this, you can donate the clothes that you have or you don't use anymore to Portage High School. Thank you.
And we'll be getting that information out so more people will know how to be able to go ahead and participate in that. So thank you for bringing that to the city. All right. Hearing no other comments and a strong eagerness I can sense to eat those cupcakes, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Great, thank you all.